Hi, this is Dr. Nirmala, and I wanted to share my wellness journey with all of you. Now, before I actually get into this video, let me put in a disclaimer that any dietary or lifestyle changes must be undertaken only after you have consulted with a dietitian or else with your treating physician. So I've been overweight all my life, right from childhood, I think from the age of about 2 or 3. So initially it was like, oh, she's such a cutie pie. What chubby cheek she has, and she's such a doll. Later on, it started becoming a big cause of concern to my parents and to all my loved ones. All the while growing up, body shaming, bullying, it was all part of the norm for me. And as I grew up, obviously, I had no confidence in myself. I was always scared of what people would say about me, the comments made about me. And as time went on, I realized that I didn't even want to meet people because the focus was always me being overweight and what I was trying to do about it. So, right from my college days, I've had problems with my blood pressure. And in fact, I remember at the age of some 22 or 23, the doctor had put me on antihypertensives. That's medication for high BP. Of course, every time this happened, like my BP went up or I had any other health scare, I would immediately start exercising, go on a rigorous diet. I would last for about a year, year and a half. My weight would come down a little bit and I would be taken off the medication. But it was just a cyclical process where every now and then I would have some kind of a medical emergency and the doctor would put me on medications. And of course, always the concern was my weight. Somewhere in my early 30s, I went on to develop very high blood pressure. Sometimes it would reach 220 by about 140, and I had to be put on a combination of antihypertensives because without that, there was no way my BP was coming under control. And at that point of time, even exercise and diet was not helping with my BP. Initially, when I went to the doctor, they would always tell me, bring your weight under control, start exercising, start dieting. And I've been hearing this ever since I was a child. I think right from the age of 9 or 10, every time I went to the doctor, this was the advice given to me. After I hit my 30s, from this advice, it went to go in for bariatric surgery. I even started considering actually going in for bariatric sleeve surgery. But I do remember having watched a few educational videos, having listened to doctors, where they did talk about some people who, after 10 to 15 years of bariatric surgery, would again put on weight. Now, all this while, my blood sugar was in the pre diabetic range, and my triglycerides were always high, and the doctors kept telling me that you have to go on medication. And keep in mind that I was still exercising. It's not that I wasn't going to the gym or I wasn't following a proper diet. I was having what was considered a low calorie diet, a low fat diet. But despite all my efforts, I went from being pre diabetic to actually diabetic. So now the physician wanted me to be on injections which would help me lose weight and also on medicines for diabetes. And of course, I was so keen and desirous of getting my health in order, of feeling good in my body, that I started taking those injections. So these injections are supposed to help a person lose up to 10, 15 kgs. There are even people who've lost 30 kgs. But with me, nothing happened. My weight went down by about 2 kilos and after that, nothing moved. Sometime in 2018, my health took a turn for the worse. I started developing a lot of inflammation in my body. I was in pain, I could barely walk. My back was always paining, my knees were paining, my ankles were always swollen, and even standing for about half an hour was an ordeal. I don't know if you can hear the rains. Oh, the weather is so beautiful right now. Okay, so getting back to where I was with my health, things got even worse because I started having very severe sleep apnea. My snoring had become really loud, and I would suddenly stop breathing in the middle of the night. The doctor obviously advised me to start using the CPAP. This was so that my oxygen levels wouldn't dip during the night. It surely had its benefits because I was waking up a little more refreshed in the mornings. I was having a sound sleep at night once I started getting used to the CPAP. My husband was able to sleep because I was not snoring anymore. Everything became an extra effort. I had to push myself in order to just have a normal life. I guess being put on the CPAP was the final wake up call for me because I realized that things had really gotten to a point where if I didn't do something about it, it's just going to get a lot worse, and I would start becoming dependent on people for just my daily activities. I began to realize that all the low calorie diets, the low fat diets, none of this was going to help me. I would have to really study what was happening with myself. I would have to look into what are the different kinds of things that people have done where they have had success with their weight loss and also bringing their diabetes under control. So I started talking to people who I know have really lost weight or who I know have brought their diabetes under control and have been able to come off their medication. I started listening to a lot of scientific blogs where doctors were talking about things like hypertension, sugar, about weight control. I started reading books written by doctors who had worked with people having either obesity or diabetes. I started listening to a lot of video logs done by doctors and also success stories that were recorded. Initially, when I shared with my husband everything that I was reading about and told him that I was really keen on starting a new diet and do something that is different so that I actually get results, he was, of course, very concerned. But he decided to support me 100%. His only condition was that if I noticed any adverse effects on my health, I would immediately stop the diet. Finally, in March 2019, I decided to put all this knowledge that I had gathered over the past few months to use, and I started following a way of diet and a way of life that I believed would be beneficial to me. And frankly, ever since then, I've not looked back. I have no regrets. So the first thing I noticed was within about a week or 10 days, the inflammation around my knees and my ankles started coming down. I was actually able to walk without pain. The next thing that happened was that I could come off the CPAP. My snoring had completely stopped. I started waking up fresh in the mornings and I had a lot of energy. This happened over about 3 to 4 or maybe even 6 months. Weight loss was there, but initially it was something that only I could see and the weighing machine showed it. People around me still could not make out that I had lost much weight. But my husband could see that I was able to walk much faster, that I was able to do things around the house without actually waiting for help. Finally, about 1 year down the line, I was off the diabetes medication and I was even able to reduce some of the BP medication. I'm not saying that I've reached my ideal weight as per my height, but I know I'm getting there because I continue to focus on what I need to do. I continue to focus on my diet, on the lifestyle that I lead, and I can honestly say that this is the best health that I have had in many, many years. So I'm not going to look back, I'm not going to quit. And another thing I want to add is that we can't do this on our own. We need people around us who are supportive and who know how important this is. Now my husband knows the benefits of my kind of diet, and in fact he doesn't let me cheat. He always encourages me to carry on and not give up. When I started my efforts to lose weight and to get off diabetes medication, I realized that most of the available video logs or the blogs were all written by people who lived in the West. There were very few resources based on people's experiences in India. So my effort here is to share my experiences with you. As a doctor, I'm also able to educate you on what is happening in your body and what are the hormonal changes that are causing you to either put on weight, to become diabetic, to have hypertension or high cholesterol. I want to be able to guide you on how to make your meals more interesting, on how to choose healthy foods, and at the same time not have this I'm on a diet mentality. I want you to be able to see that making dietary changes in your food doesn't mean that food becomes boring. At the end of the day, most of us really want to sit down and enjoy a meal. So through this vlog, I want to be able to demonstrate that with the right kind of eating, it is possible to get our health under control. Diabetes, hypertension, obesity, certain autoimmune disorders, all these are regulated by the foods that we eat. And my aim is to help you make your wellness journey a lot more easier. So this is me, Nirmala, signing off. And remember, wellness begins with your plate. So until next time, bye-bye.